So hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Party Invite podcast. This is numero 80. I don't speak Spanish, but I think I got that one right. This is the 24th of August. We are all here. It's the four of us. I'm your host, Tegan. Over there we got Chris.
Yo.
Over here we got Sovereign Sid.
Hello.
Over there we got Vilos.
That me.
And the four of us are Party Invite. We bring people together over video games, whether we're playing them, talking about them, or anything in between as content creators and players. We bring you the Party Invite show, which is a two-parter. First part is the podcast, which is happening right now. And the second part is the game stream. Each week we play a game together. We either play something together or we watch as one of us plays. This week we've got Escape Academy back on the board. We've got Chris and Vilos playing that. Really looking forward to that because we had an excellent finish last week to a 30-minute challenge that they finished with 3 seconds left to go.
Woo.
Making an absolute mad dash for basically the button you press to succeed. So I'm really looking forward to more of that. But our party topic is going to be Gamescom, so stick around if you haven't paid attention to any of that. We can cover all the hits. But before we do all that, y'all, I want to hear something that made you smile this week. Chris, you've been chomping at the bit for this one, so let's hear what made you smile.
Yeah, I'm ready. Also of note, we're about 15 seconds behind on the stream.
Well, that's just how it's gonna be, baby. That's showbiz.
That's a showbiz, baby. So yes, thing that made me smile. So on Sunday, I had my bachelor party. It was a small little get together. Went out for a nice meal at the town company. Went and saw Kendrick Lamar. It was a great night. Got home and Devin had decorated the house with bachelor party things.
As you do.
As you do, like little signs
Halloween.
little signs that said it's not too late to run. Those kind of things. There was a little cookie cake that had like a wrestling ring made on it with like little Sour Patch Kids as the wrestlers. It was adorable. So yeah, that made me smile quite a bit.
Heck yeah.
It was great. There was this terrifying blow up doll in the corner. It has like a very creepy plastic mask face.
Oh no.
It is terrifying. Maybe I'll get it later for the stream. It'll help out during Escape Academy, I think.
Like Hannibal Lecter style? Is that what we're talking?
Oh goodness.
Yeah. It's a lot. Like it's something. And to think like that's an actual one that you could buy is terrifying for a bunch of reasons.
You're supposed to enjoy it, man.
Like I'm pretty sure this is like the one that like BTK would have used or something. You know what I mean? It was terrifying, but it was very cute.
For everybody who doesn't know, BTK is a famous serial killer.
Yes. yes. So yeah, it was a great night. Made me smile real big. Yeah. That's what made me smile this week.
Excellent. I'll go next real quick. Lizzie and I went to a concert this weekend. We went to see the Killers. And honestly, it was fine. The show was fine. They sounded good. Just the crowd was not that excitable, and clearly the front man was quite upset about that. And it gave the whole concert this weird energy. But the very best part of the concert was that some dude in the front row, just some guy, had a sign. I don't know what it said, but Brandon Flowers invites him on stage to play the drums. They're like, has no idea who this guy is, but is like, saying something to him. We couldn't really make it out. The guy comes on stage and he's like, all right, we're going to play this song. You're on the drums, whatever his name was. And he goes up there and it became evident very quickly, this is not a professional drummer. This is just a really big fan of the Killers. So, he wasn't, bad, but
a dream made, dude.
Dude, it was like we were watching Guitar Hero, seriously. Like, this guy was having the time of his life. And you could tell, because, of course, the camera's all the way, you can see him just like any of the other band members, and it was equal parts funny, wholesome, and wonderful. That was the best part of the whole show. Was everybody just cheering this guy on because he was having the time of his life. So hell yeah, I'm so happy for that guy. I really that's the only time I think I've ever seen something quite like that. It was one. So weird show, but a really great moment that I'm gonna remember for a long time.
I love that.
Yeah, because everybody at once just realizes like, what? We need, and the frontman gets everybody clapping so we can stay on rhythm because he is all over the place. So we're like, okay, we're helping everybody out. Everybody's a part of this.
That shit was like 140 beats per minute in his
Dude.
head. He's just like, ah!
Well, you could hear the guitar started the song, right? It's just the guitar for a few bars, and then the drums come in, and everybody's like, "Oh, we gotta pick this up, pick this up." And it was very funny.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
y'all got anything?
I do. So earlier in the week, I think it was like Sunday, Monday. Bowser's mom went in for her kidney transplant that she's been waiting on. And his sister is the one who donated her kidney. So the surgery went really well, and they're just in recovery. And so yeah, it's small, but like
That's
a
awesome.
big thing, you know.
That's
Yeah,
a huge
yeah.
thing. Oh my gosh! And to be able to donate your kidney to someone in your life, that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really glad because like apparently she was on the waiting list for like a really long time, and then they discovered that his sister was, a
Compatible.
match, yeah, compatible. Thank you. Um, and it was just really, I think she was like at high risk anyway because she has like PCOS or whatever it's called, um, where the thing like polycystic in the kidneys or whatever. So she was at like high risk or whatever. So it was already kind of daunting trying to find someone to give her a kidney or whatever. And so the sister comes through and bam, so they came down over the weekend. We had like a big old meal and then kind of caught up. And then they went into surgery and they're in recovery and whatnot. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's absolutely something to smile about.
Yeah,
Violet,
that's what the big dinner tonight is going to be about. Is like, we got the news of recovery and everything. So everyone who's, not in the hospital, we're going to be like celebratory goodness stuff. So
heck yeah. That's fantastic. Violet, have you ever smiled?
I also never smile.
Man,
No.
only two of us out of this. We're gonna have to.
I'll share one little thing. Besides Xenoblade's continuing to make me smile, I did receive my 3-pack bundle from Super Rare Games. I made a YouTube short on it, but for those that didn't see that, this particular cover is amazing. And if you're afraid of spiders, this should not actually affect you. But I want you all to see.
spider.
If I can get this focus here. Right,
hey, there we go.
Okay, now.
This is the incredibly cute cover for Webbed. Like, look at these little jumping spiders. They're the cutest fucking things. And this whole game is something I've been waiting to play for a long time. But very excited to play this. Super Rare Games is really putting out some good shit. Talked about them a few times, but
heck
yeah.
yeah.
And this whole thing, cute little cover.
Cool.
I
or
like
the
that.
inside cover. You get stickers and trading cards and all this shit. There's a little art book as well, and jumping spiders are seriously some of the cutest little creatures imaginable.
They are very cute.
If you don't
Isn't
like
there a
them,
cartoon about one, like Luca or something like that?
then,
Like he started out as like a big like a fan thing, and then they actually made it into a cartoon like that you could watch.
yeah, I forget what his name is. I think you
it's
might
Luca.
be right though.
Yeah.
You're not talking about
He's
the
like-
talking pebble or whatever with shoes. What's that thing called?
He's basically Marcel, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Marcel, okay.
He's basically Marcel, but he's a jumping spider, and it's the
So
cutest
adorable.
Pixar quality thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you could tell they
wonderful.
used all their budget on that spider though, because the rest of the characters.
No, it's the artist rendering. If it's like, here's here's what a quick sketch, here's what a 10-minute version looks like. Here's what a 30-minute
Right.
version. Here's a 2-hour version. And you're like, oh,
Or
that,
like the medieval representation of a cat.
yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Violet, did you put up? Did you record something for that for Webbed? Did you?
Yes, or no, not for the game. Just the short on YouTube that was exploring all three games that I got, which was the Strange Brigade, Never Yield, and Webbed.
Well, heck yeah. We'll go find that on our YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how exciting! I love the vicarious nature of like I don't care about collecting stuff, but every time like you show something like that, it's like, oh, okay, like get my little fix. It's all I need.
Yeah, you just wait until I get that fucking Bayonetta 3 special edition.
Oh baby, we'll never see
Oh.
him again.
Unless it doesn't come with like a life-size Bayonetta, I don't want it.
Listen, nothing will ever come with a life-size Bayonetta. I'm sorry to break it to you.
No. Well, I guess I better get working on my cosplay then.
There you go. You got the right idea.
Well, let's see. So, excuse me, I've got something in my throat. With all those smiles now behind us, the smiles are out of the way. No more for the rest of the show. Let's get down to business. Y'all, let's talk about our party topic.
Real quick, can we address the issues here just a little bit?
Sav's audio is lower,
yeah.
not according to my levels.
Yeah, my microphone was just far away. I just moved it closer.
Okay, well, you sound good to me. It's the children who are wrong.
ASMR. ASMR.
Did you hear that? Subs, very, very loyal, beautiful.
Oh, what? Oh, I thought I was muted. Is this thing on? Oh, God.
Although my stream is about 30 or 40 seconds behind, but that's better than the minutes that it was the other day.
Yeah, it was long before.
That might be something we can't address because, like I said, like
Yeah.
in our Discord, Twitch is having problems all over the platform right now.
Yeah.
So that might not be something we can fix.
So it's a miracle we're live.
It actually is.
We laugh.
First-hand experience because yesterday was a nightmare for me.
I tell you what, let me close some of these tabs that I've got for our videos on the show and see if that'll free up some of my bitrate, because I can tell that my bitrate is struggling. So we'll do that. Chat, thanks for letting us know. We can only fix it if we know it's broke. For once, it's not my CPU
broke.
that's the problem, so that's nice.
Hey.
Let's see. Beep, boop, beep. Beep, boop, beep. Well, hey, in the meantime, you can see what we've been playing with the Nightbot command. I updated that, so that should be good to go.
We also have a new fight command, so you can knock your fellow viewers out.
Pop, pop.
Just kidding.
Bet channel
There
points.
is one. There is one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I have one in my my stream. It's called Duel. Well, I think it's actually called Fight, but I named it Duel.
Okay, I know of the duel, but I didn't realize it was just like a straight up fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
just challenge someone to a duel, and then you basically take their money.
We should totally make a street brawling beat 'em ups version for us.
We commissioned someone to make a party invite game where we're like the selectable characters, like a la Scott Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
We need to commission somebody for that.
Man, if
as soon as I win the lottery, y'all.
do we know anybody who does cool pixel art on like Pokemon games or anything like that?
That's wild.
Sav? Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody?
Keeps talking.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna be ready here in a second. My bitrate is still. It's a tiny bit better. Still red. Not sure what to do about that.
It looks good. Like it's not pixelated or anything like that. It's just it might be like behind.
Yeah, it's just behind.
Yeah.
Okay, well. Whack. All right, well then let's get to our party topic for this week. We just watched a bunch of Gamescom stuff. Gamescom with an M. Don't be like me and mess up the names of everything you say. Gamescom started yesterday. It's a week long. So the opening day with Jeff Keighley as the host was about 2 hours and change, 2.5 hours long. We saw a bunch of reveal trailers. Most of them, well, many of them I thought were just fine. Some of them are just cinematics and not gameplay, so it's more of a teaser to get you excited rather than gameplay, which shows us what the game will actually look like. There were some awards given out to indie devs and a bunch of stuff. So we chose some of our the things that stuck out to us. So we're not going to cover everything that was at the show. We will cover the things we thought were the most exciting, though. So let's see who we want to start with. I tell you what, how about we start with Moonbreaker? Chris and Sav, both of you had this on your list. So I'd love to hear about that. I'll get the video up on screen here.
Go ahead, Sav. Since you had it on your, you linked the video. I was just gonna chime in when you talked and be like, "Hell yeah!"
Okay. So Moonbreaker really interested me right from the get go because you saw the black woman. Y'all saw the black woman in there, that main figurine. Bam, already interested. So, what it is, it's like it seems to be like a cross of Hearthstone and like XCOM, but instead of like cards or soldier units, it's little figurines like miniatures that you would play on a tabletop board game. And I don't know if y'all have seen my tabletop game collection, but Bowser and I have over 300 tabletop games. So
That's a lot.
we actually we go to like or he goes to a game every Tuesday. We used to host them here, but then the pandemic hit. But he also has like a painting studio set up like right in our living room. So he's got like a whole bunch of like washes and like paints and things like that. So I was just like, maybe this could teach me a little bit more about that because that's what we've been. I mean, we have like a whole apartment full of stuff. So I was really intrigued by the tabletop like board game element of it all. It reminds me a lot of Tabletop Simulator in that way, where like you have the virtual figurines that you place on the board, and they do what they do. Um, but yeah, just like watching the trailer that we saw, which was really whimsical. It definitely gave me that Hearthstone vibe. I am excited to see like how the two elements blend together. Because everybody's played like an XCOM or an XCOM-like game, right? If it wasn't XCOM, it was what you call it,
Mario
Kingdom
Rabbids.
Battle, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Um, and there are plenty of other ones out there, but the new element is what intrigues me, like the miniature, the tabletop like element of it all. That's kind of what drew me to Midnight Suns, is it had that card element. I love when things throw genres on its side. Multiversus is doing that with the platform fighter genre, and now we have this doing it with the what would you call this? Is it RTS? No, well, it's turn based, isn't it? I'm just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
call
it'd
Yeah.
be a turn-based tactics.
turn based tactics.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this doesn't have the explicit grid that these games are known for, but it's essentially the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd call it a tactics.
It's almost kind of like the game that Vilas was talking about the other week. The with the Scarion escargot,
Oh
the
yeah.
really
The Diofield Chronicle. Yeah,
yeah,
it's got a little bit of that without being real time, or at least it looks like it's got a little bit of a pause each time you
Mhm.
try to take actions.
Yeah.
And I mean it's from the Subnautica developers, so it's slick as hell. Like
Yes. It looks
it's
so good.
the production value is fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to that too for sure.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
really interested in seeing how the people will paint the figurines because it's a really, really in-depth painting system, and that's what really got to me.
yeah.
Because I'm like, I learned some of my techniques from Bowser. Maybe I can actually use them instead of like, because it's so easy to undo a mistake on the computer. If you make a mistake painting a mini in real life, it's just like, well, I guess that looks like that now.
Right.
Like my controller with the sideways X or the sideways Y on the button instead of the X. It's
They're
just
like, ship
that's
it.
ship it. So, me in customization. Everyone's gonna have their really own unique personal touches. Or you could do like the stock painting or whatever if you don't feel like doing that. But I'm gonna get in there and spend like 11 hours per
Oh man,
figure.
wouldn't it be cool if you could upload your painting, your version of a piece? I have no idea if that's a thing, but wouldn't that be
Oh,
cool?
you mean for other people to play with?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like that would probably be a thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people do that for Tower of Fantasy. So we
I
got
mean,
like Hinata and Naruto running around.
yeah, and they partnered with some science fiction writer that I'm sure somebody is like, oh gosh, you don't know.
Brandon
Blah,
Sanderson.
blah, blah. There you go. But it looks like it'll be fun, and there'll be some like fun lore stuff. I just like that you're able to like obtain all these minis and then like build your team how you want, and then I'm assuming that there'll be like a campaign type thing, but also like competitive like matches against each other, which just sounds awesome. Because anytime you did that in like XCOM or anything like that, that was always fun. It was never perfect, but it could be really cool with this. So excited to see that with everybody's like all customized, painted characters and stuff. It'll be very cool.
Well, that looks pretty cool. Chat certainly has opinions on Chris not saying world premiere before the beginning of
Premiere.
a staple of this community is the Maori world premiere.
Whoop premiere.
The
I was
people
gonna say
love.
not to be confused with the Whoop premiere.
What else did we see? Vilos, let's hop over to one you have on this list. Dead Island
yeah.
2.
Oh my god, I actually watched that right before the stream because I didn't get to catch up on today's stuff. But finally, I know a lot of people right now are just like, man, I got sick of Dead Island in like 2 hours or whatever. But Dead Island 2 is finally here. It's actually
Why?
real. Yeah. And it's apparently releasing in February. So yeah, I am excited. I put way too much time in both Dead Island and Riptide. I can't tell you how many times I restarted both games for some fucking reason, even though they're both you could easily put 50 to 70 hours in every one of them. But
Lol.
yeah, I'm still looking forward to more, even though I fucking played through Dying Light this year too. So I should theoretically be zombied out, but
Are you not?
I'm down for this.
I was born zombied out.
I mean, I'm gonna talk about zombies later today too. So
Isn't it funny though? We got the like fake Dead Island 2 trailer again with the goat simulator thing, and then now Dead Island 2 has been announced. It's like what?
yeah,
Right.
it was very weird. But this trailer was cool. It had the similar production values as they always have had, except this time it was starring a very Lenny Kravitz wannabe character, Rockstar. So far, it didn't really tell us anything, and it didn't give us any kind of hint as to what the actual thing would be about. I mean, it does not appear to be the same island. It appears to actually be on the mainland U.S. Maybe.
Los Angeles.
Did
Well,
they
it's not
say
the same
LA?
island because the other island's dead. Duh.
Well,
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, there was.
Got it.
They did besides this trailer, they did like a gameplay thing afterwards
did
where they talked about it being in LA. Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes the biggest difference, I think. So if that's the case, that hopefully it's a way more actual open world than the originals were then.
Which which LA, not an island. So
Yeah.
What?
Well, we don't know yet.
we don't know that for a fact in this
Like in the
universe.
game. Yeah.
Right.
See, that's part of the
Right.
mystery.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That's where it spread to, and they just separated from the United States and are floating out in the ocean.
I mean, that joke has
Right.
been made enough in like a whole bunch of cartoons where it just like breaks off of the, you see it float and then collide with like Japan or whatever. So,
Right.
So
can we
I'm
talk about his hair texture?
right. But the
So
thing is,
good.
they get cutscenes right every damn time. I don't know if this is if
It's a very
this
squishy
was deep.
trailer.
I don't know if this was Deep Silver. Did you see that, Chris? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
Deep
is.
Silver.
Still okay.
Yeah, because they're the ones that go, "Hey, remember this game that was announced a long time ago got canceled? Well, guess what? We're releasing it."
It was a mystery to everyone. Yeah, when we saw, I think last week we might have brought it up that Dead Island got a new listing. This game that
Yeah,
we
it
haven't
was
heard
leaked,
anything about in ages got a new listing, and then now we see this official trailer, right?
Right.
But it's just a strange thing. I will say, on the topic of being zombied out, I'm glad I took a little break during while The Walking Dead was at its height. I was not consuming a lot of zombie content. So I feel like I kind of escaped a little bit of the worst of it. There's a podcast I really like that I actually started re-listening to recently. That's the best zombie fiction I've ever listened to. It's called We're Alive. If anybody wants to check that out, Shell in our community, she and I chat about that when the new episodes come out. Highly recommend. But that's Dead Island 2. Didn't think we'd see that this year or ever again, but there it is. So what do we have next? We have I have Moving Out 2 on this list. We'll watch the trailer. If you know anything about Moving Out 1, this is the same game. It's the same thing completely. That's it. I didn't see any noticeable differences. But Moving
The
Out,
other island is dead. No.
this bridges the gap between the two of them. It says zombies on the way. You got to move, honey. And this is a co-op game. You can play by yourself, but it's up to 4 players. The game says 3 or more, which I think was just the way they phrased it because of whatever the context of the video. But I'm pretty sure it's only up to 4 players, and you can play couch co-op or online. But I played this with one of our community members, Lang, quite a while back. I played the first one, and it's a good time. It looks like an overcooked style game. You know, kind of silly, physicsy a little bit. Everybody's on the same team trying to work together towards an objective, and you're like carrying couches through panes of glass, right? You're just like throwing the couch through the window. You're throwing stuff off the top deck. All sorts of goofy, silly things. You're trying to jump across pools, you know, swimming pools and stuff. But it's a fun game. This just looks like more of that. So if that's something you're interested in, you know, I remember the first game. It could have used a tiny bit of polish, but it was a quality thing. Maybe this has more polish. Either way, even if they had just made this DLC for the original, this is a good co-op game. Real chill. You could play it with somebody who's not a gamer, same as with Overcooked, except this is less likely to piss you off. You know, if somebody messes up.
Slightly less.
Slightly, yeah. So that's Moving Out 2. Let's see, coming 2023. That's our release date. So that's all there really is to say about that. Let's
That's
circle
all I have
back
to say about that.
to Sav. Do you want to talk about Friends versus Friends?
Yes, I do. Oh my gosh. First of all, what caught me was the art style. I love the art style. It's very, you know, I make fun of CalArt's art styles all the time, but this is like different. You know, kind of like, what's that bird show called? Like Tuca and Birdie. It reminded me a lot of that, kind of like whimsical art. And so I was just like, ooh. And then they had like it sounded like an indie songstress singing their theme song, and I was like, ooh, ooh. And then they come in with like the neon whitest gameplay with like the cars being your weapons, and you're like traversing the terrain and all that stuff, and just fighting with your cards. And I said, ooh, ooh, ooh. So I'm all in. Like this is a day one for me, I think, because there are so many games that rarely put you in like that 2v2 situation, like solely strictly 2v2. A lot of them are so focused on mass teams, like 4 through 6 number like team members. So it seems like this is solely 1v1 and 2v2 oriented, which kind of falls into like what Multiversus is doing right now, where it's focusing on the duo thing. And I enjoy that. I love small scale PvP like that, because as fun as it is to like drop into an area and fight 100 people, or you know, what you call it in Halo, the big time battle or whatever it's called.
Yeah, big team battle. But
Or-
big
I do
time
love
battle.
Big time battle.
I imagine it's Master Chief wearing a top hat, like it's Fortnite DLC.
Ragtime battle.
Michigan J Chief. Hello, my honey. Give me my heat wave. Like, or you know, even something like Overwatch, where it's like 6v6 soon to be 5v5. Like those, that's okay, you know. But small scale, that's when you can really fine tune balancing and combat and things like that. That's why I like Road Company, because it's that 4v4. It's like really, you can really feel the gunplay, the strategy. It's not as chaotic. And so with something like this, especially with like the card gun game battling element, I think having too many people on the screen at once would be so just zany. And so I'm glad that they decided to do like that small scale sort of approach. But oh my gosh, I just want to see more. Like the very little hint of the gameplay that we got at the end of the trailer, I was just like, okay, that's my appetizer. Where's my full course? Thank you.
I was watching a reaction to that, and they were just like, "Wait, no, hold on, time out. Go back to the gameplay that we just saw 5 seconds of. We want to know more about that."
They said,
As they
nope.
were just like, "All right, moving on," and here we are talking about. And they're like, "No, wait, go back."
So that is
That's
that
how you
is
do it, though.
Friends versus Friends. That's a Raw Fury joint. You can tell by the super stylized trailer.
Mhm.
You know, Raw Fury and Devolver Digital. They got to look. You know, it's got to be one of them. You know.
I mean, these animals are just murdering the shit out of each other. So,
Right.
You
Okay.
know what it
Yeah.
really reminds me of is have you guys ever heard of or played Fur Fighters on the PS2?
Yeah.
It's basically that, but with
Yeah.
cards. And that I miss that game so much. And so this is gonna scratch a really nice itch.
All card action.
it does look like the combat will be neon white, but combat exclusive. So that's
Mm.
that is fun.
Interesting.
But where's the motorcycles? Because, I hear card games are played on motorcycles now.
Well, some of the motorcycles have feet, and the game's called Pokemon.
Yes.
See, I know things about Pokemon because I
True.
saw a meme about
You
it.
know memes about
Yeah.
Pokemon.
What else do we have here? Chris, let's kick it your way. How about Forspoken?
All right. So I know that we normally do this thing where we talk about the things we're really excited for.
Oh,
Well,
Chris, is this a frowny trailer? Uh-oh.
both of mine are I'm kind of like a little disappointed in. So, Forspoken today released like a 10-minute long like deep dive like gameplay trailer to like show you the game. And I don't know if I'm just becoming an old man, but
Becoming.
all
Sorry.
of the right. All of the like it just seems like that game just has too much particle everything always happening at all times where I'm like I can't even see what's going on. Like what am I supposed to be looking at? It is pretty looking and all that, but I just like something about it is screaming at me. This is a 6 out of 10 or a 7, maybe a 7. I don't know. There's just something about it.
This
I don't
this
know what
gives
it is.
me the same general vibe of Anthem, where I'm like, you clearly put a lot of work into this. I'm not sure if it's going to be a good game. But part of
Yeah.
this too is some of my issue isn't actually with the quality of the game. It's that it's a certain type of game that looks somewhere between an Assassin's Creed open world and like a JRPG, like an anime open world.
Yeah.
Which is just something that's just not really for me. So I have
Yeah.
trouble getting my blinders off to recognize the game for what it can be on its own, rather than my expectations of it. But as far as just my gut feeling, I'm not really holding my breath on this one. But I'll wait till the reviews come out and we'll see what it's like when it's really in the wild.
Yeah.
But I'm nervous of a AAA, very highly marketed game like this, where you have well, whatever.
It's Square Enix
Yeah.
too, so that could be why I'm like, there's too many particles and too much shit happening on screen at every moment.
I mean, it's very pretty.
It's very pretty,
Putting
but
that
like,
as a Square Enix game because it doesn't have like a giant crystalline plot point. So
You're right.
As far as we know of, the evil Empress or whatever, it does appear to be a very Final Fantasy thing in this game.
yeah,
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm worried. This is one I was like excited about because I knew Gary Whitta was doing the story, who wrote Rogue One and has done a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I think Amy Hennig is attached to this in some way as well.
Who's that?
She was like story lead for Uncharted.
Sweet.
And like the game director for Uncharted.
Hmm.
She's always been known of like really good story stuff. That's her thing. That's why when she started to do the that Star Wars game that looked super cool that got canceled. She was a part of that, and you were like, "Oh, this will be awesome," and then canceled. But yeah, there's just something about it. There's always 1,000 particles and strands of stuff. Just
Okay.
always.
This looks
happening.
this looks a little more appealing to me. This looks like more Shadow of Mordor. Of course, it's all like sandy and dusty, like Shadow of Mordor.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, it just there's something about it. I don't know what it is, but I'm getting, maybe Anthem. Maybe it's because it looks a lot like Anthem, where I'm just like, oh nope, stay away. There's cats though. There's a lot of cats. This is a big cat heavy game. Apparently, they showed 2 cats in this trailer, and everybody was like, oh my god, cats.
Oh.
And and then there was like the whole trailer that they released like a few weeks ago that didn't go well. There's also this whole cutscene that is just popping up now on the Twitch. So this is how far back this was, and like how the distance in time that we are from what people are saying. But they have like you're talking to an NPC, and the NPC's like, oh yeah, well go get this, and just like the face animations are just not what I would expect at this. I don't know. The face itself looks fine, but the way the mouth moves and the eyes are moving, it's terrifying and looks weird.
And the one thing, like, despite this game getting so much more time added to it, I'm pretty sure they've been crunching for fucking 3 or 4 years straight.
Oh yeah,
I think it's showing at this point.
yeah. It's I don't know.
Because
Could
you
be
guys
good.
will remember that I really wanted to play this, and I really do think it still will be decent. But the more it lingers, the less I think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Unfortunately,
It's.
I really want it to be good.
But as a little just like from the showing, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this whole gameplay thing, and maybe that'll bring me back in and be like, ah, hell yeah. And then I watched the gameplay, and I was like, oh.
There.
I like the movement. Like the traversal's like really cool.
yeah.
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 The combat looks really neat as well. But the last time that a game tried to lure me in with like pretty particles and whatnot, which was Godfall, y'all know how that went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I crazy, or am I crazy? And like the particles are a lot.
No,
Like
not at
There's a
all.
lot.
It,
Okay.
Well,
it's-
you'll be playing on if this comes out, you'll be playing on what, the PS5, right? How well is
Yeah.
it at handling something like that, or is there going to be like a?
oh,
Do you think there's going to be like an addition where it's like cut down or something?
I think it'll be fine.
Oh no,
It-
PS5. Yeah.
If it could run Returnal the way that game looks with no load screens, it ain't no thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like there's just a lot packed in there. Oh my gosh, we're watching an ad because I don't know how to pay attention to my own video. We
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, I think there's just a lot going on. But I like the combat, I like the movements, definitely more than any video I've seen before this one. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing this for the first time because I didn't catch this in the
Yeah, this was just out
coverage.
today at some point, and it's all part of the Gamescom stuff. I just saw it
I
on
think what
YouTube and was like, oh, new trailer.
I think
Yeah.
what kind of makes it off-putting as well is that, like, seeing the graphics as they are, is that it's like something that we've come to expect from like Final Fantasy. You know, you look at Final Fantasy
Yes.
15 and Dissidia, and like it's super like all the particles and everything, the elements, and they're hyper realistic like that. The Final Fantasy 7 remake, it looks like this. It's like they're using the same engine. So when we see that kind of stuff outside of Final Fantasy, it's just like, wait, you know. So I think that also
It's
they might
like
contribute
slightly
to.
jarring to see it
Yeah.
in this way, but
I will say the water bubble that was like around 100 feet, like that was fucking cool though. That,
Yeah, that's
like,
what made me think of that, because I was
this
like, wow,
is-
that looks just like a, a Final Fantasy like esque move.
it's a very very good mix between Dragon Age and the newest Final Fantasies, but then with the twist, quote unquote, is that it's actually got a one prominent figure as the protagonist that's gonna make all the difference. That's where I put my faith in so far, but the internet's shit on that quite a bit lately because they had.
Well, I mean,
some
it's a
faux pas.
female person of color, so
Exactly.
yes. And which I'm all like, I was like, when this game was announced, I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get something really interesting and neat. I'm just, the more I'm seeing, I'm getting worried, and that's a theme that we're about to discuss on another game a little later. That I also saw more of yesterday.
Well, you'll have to wait. Let's skip
Yeah.
back around. The other thing I saw is not it's a video, but there's barely anything to it. It is a customizable PlayStation 5 controller.
Yes.
Let's see. It is the
It's
DualSense
called the-
Edge.
It's
wireless
actually the
controller.
DualSense Sex. That's what it's called.
I'm sorry, the what?
Excuse me.
It's the DualSense Sex. That's the controller. Everybody needs it from now on. Everyone.
I got to go to the internet on this one. Like,
Yes. It's confirmed. Everybody has agreed that that's the new name.
It's the PlayStation Edge Series X. That's what
There you
that's
go.
what that stands for.
Like, now we're really competing with Xbox.
Yeah. So it is. Let me rattle this off here.
It's pretty.
I mean, it's like your customized. It's like your Pro controllers from the last generation. You can remap the buttons. It's got 2 extra buttons on the back, which is huge. I remember always wanting that when I was playing Apex Legends, because I only got 1 thumb, but I got other fingers doing nothing. And so you got 2 buttons on the back that you can remap to whatever you want. You can customize the sensitivity and dead zones for the triggers, as well as the joysticks. Let's restart this over, and you can mess with the travel distance for triggers, which basically means you can turn the triggers into hair triggers, I guess, for shooters. If you've played a shooter on the PS5, you know what that feels like when you get the resistance in certain games. It feels great. So the fact that you can change that is wonderful. There are these buttons on the front that allow you to change user profiles on the fly. What that means is maybe you want one set of controls for the example they give is God of War Ragnarok. You're playing this and you want this set, but then you pop over here and you're playing a racing game. You're going to want a different loadout, and then you go over here and then you're going to be playing a shooter. So you want all that stuff to be different, or if you do, you can change it on the fly. You don't have to exit to leave menus. The button for that is right there on your controller, and it's immediately changed. Seems pretty cool. So you can do that for different games or just for different profiles. So, Chris, if you and I were in the same house, you could make your own profile, and anytime we wanted, we could switch them back to default or custom or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
And then the stick caps, right, for the 2 thumbsticks. You can have the default. You can have a high dome or a low dome, which basically means convex or concave, depending on
sorry, what?
You heard me. Depending on how you like it. I like ones that are concave. They feel good, even though they kind of wear down my thumbs a little bit. Sometimes when I play too hard, or if they're not broken in, my thumbs will kind of get raw.
Listen, I told you what it was
crazy.
named, and now you're just going full on with it. There you go.
You saw me. You gotta play with. You gotta. And so on the back there is the those 2 buttons. You can make them. They have swappable parts as well. They're either a half dome, which is similar-ish to the top of the control stick, or a lever, which is just that. And then you can replace the stick modules if you want. So if you love your controller but the sticks are getting worn down because you've been playing for a long, long time, you can buy a separate stick module to replace those. I imagine that people will also make customized ones, right? Like third-party ones that you could substitute in as well. But essentially, this is just the current generation's answer, to last generation's Pro controllers. So, seems good. It's nothing like wildly groundbreaking, but it's all of the wonderful things that you want from a Pro controller. As far as I know, it's not missing anything that people have asked for. It has all the PS5 capabilities of the adaptive triggers and the rumble and the motion sense and all that stuff. But seems cool. I'm sure it's going to be expensive. I didn't see a price. This was
about
just
to say that was the one caveat to this. I feel like this sucker's going to be 180 or something.
Yeah, I would bet that it's at least 150 if I was
Yep.
So in the same kind
throwing
of
down
vein
money.
as like the Xbox Series 1 controllers that you could customize, basically just like that, and those I think are 150.
The
So-
elites, I think when the elites first came out, I think it was 170. Then they dropped to 150 almost like a month later, and now like they're on sale for 80 to 100 every once in a
Yeah.
while. But
And these controllers have like so many more customizable features than
Yeah.
that, and plus the the PS5 features that are already inherent of the DualSense 5 controllers, which is more than the Xbox controllers have. So,
$200.
like, yeah, I was gonna say something like $200.
Oh, I hope not. Like, I don't know. I mean, I love this PS5 controller. This is the best controller I've ever owned. And I said last generation that the PS4 controller was the best. But it's the only, it's that I've ever owned. I mean, before that, I thought the Xbox 360 was the best one. I mean, each generation they keep getting better, but ever since last gen, they're just good enough that whatever, they're different, but they're all very good.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I absolutely love this thing. So we have two. Do we have two? Actually, now I'm not even sure. I know we have two of the Xbox controllers that we just ordered, but these are great. But if I really knew that I was going to be playing hard on my controller for a long time, I'd rather buy one now because Lang, who I was talking about earlier, that I played Moving Out. What is it? Moving Out 2 with.
Yep.
He was the first person that let me hold one in my hands to play with a Pro controller, an Xbox. It's not an Xbox
Elite.
Pro, yeah, Xbox Elite. There you go. Thank you. That thing's dope. That thing is really great. So just like I would upgrade at the beginning of any run of a roguelike or roguelite, I'd rather get that awesome thing that I'm going to get a lot of use out of now rather than get it after I've already bought a set of controllers.
Mhm.
Like if I need one more PS5 controller, I'll just buy that if it's a reasonable price. I was gonna
It's
say
definitely not gonna
affordable,
be
but affordable's not the right word here.
I mean, I gotta say, for that kind of price point that we assume it's gonna have and all the customization options that it's gonna have, it's a lot of work to put in for the games where you just hold forward and press X.
Yeah.
So, gonna.
Well, let's see. What do we got next? Violus, I think this is one of yours.
Sure.
Let's see. Phantom Hellcat.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. I was just going to briefly mention the other one anyway. I did want to mention the leaked game that was leaked like 3 or 4 days ago, Lies of P. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but I want it. Unfortunately, for some reason, the Pinocchio brand is just being
Popping off.
thrown around like crazy right now. There's 2 movies, and now there's this game in which you are playing Pinocchio, searching for Geppetto, but it's not really just searching for Geppetto because Geppetto seems to be this weird, creepy father figure that's actually like evil boss or something. I don't know. It looks crazy. It's a Souls like, and
Anime
I hate.
Pinocchio.
Is this
Yeah,
Pinocchio, but make it Coraline or something?
it's like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which is actually happening also. So it's like
And looks great, by the
Make
way.
it anime.
That thing looks dope.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
out of this world, but this game actually looks really cool, and I hate to admit it, but it looks like a really neat Souls like. It's very Bloodborne, very much like all of the From Software stuff. Uh, Looks cool though. But Phantom Hellcat, yes, I watched that trailer just before this, and that is another throwback to one of my favorite games. It is a very much a Nier Automata sort of experience that I really cannot wait to hear more about. Fantastic looking protagonist. I hope this story is going to be as cool as it is appearing to be in this announcement trailer.
It's got them
That's
colors.
really, yeah, that's really all I have to say about it right now because you just have to see it visually. It's just stunning.
Good.
And I will literally play any action game that has this sort of combat. You can always find me on one of those games.
Well, hell yeah. So that's Phantom
Well-
Hellcat. Yeah, details are sparse on it, but looks cool.
Yeah.
We see in there some 2D side-scrolling elements as well as some 3D like Arkham type
Yeah.
combat stuff. You know what I mean? The Marvel Spider-Man and Arkham stuff. Well, speaking of Chris, let's bounce over to you. Let's talk about Gotham Knights.
Yo boy. All right.
You know it's gonna be
So-
good.
So excited for this when they announced it because they were like, and it's the main bad guys are the Court of Owls, and they're the secret society that's been running Gotham the entire time. And I'm like, oh, cool. So like, probably cool, like reality based. interesting, comic booky stuff from this developer. That should be awesome. Well, the more I keep seeing about it, is they are going in the opposite direction. They are going cartoony, animated, over the top. Red Hood uh, died, came back to life, and is now a specter, has like some sort of like spectral powers. Yeah, they showed this trailer, and I was like, okay, well maybe I'll see some maybe I'll see some more of the gameplay and be like, all right, yeah, they got me, and because it's co-op, it'll be cool.
Chris,
this
you have the
trailer,
same thing with the trailers that I have in any game that I die a lot in. This time will be different. This time,
well,
they're gonna win me over.
So like I was like, okay, I saw the Red Hood stuff, and I was like, I don't love that, but maybe that's that stuff is kind of kept to Red Hood only. Nah, Sub-Zero is in a giant tank. There's just it's all over the top and goofy
Sub-Zero,
looking.
you mean Mr. Freeze?
Sub-Zero, yeah, Mr. Freeze.
Same diff right now.
Same difference. But yeah, I just watched this trailer, and I was like, oh cool, more Gotham Knights. Let's see if we got something here. And I'm here to say that I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I think they're gonna be. I know it's gonna sell because it's Batman, right? But or not Batman. Sorry, it's it's Batman universe. But I don't know. I just don't get. It's like, let's video game this video game, and it's like cranked up to 11, and it's like that's not necessary. That's in something Batman and the Arkham verse and all that kind of stuff. That is not what it's not what I'm looking for.
Well, the thing is, I think everybody needs to remember that the Rocksteady game is the fucking Suicide Squad game. So
right, yeah. So
like,
this is from a different dev, but yes,
Yeah.
but similar gameplay and style. Like, yeah, and like the Red Hood, he's a crazily jacked. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand the tone and I don't get what they're doing.
I mean, isn't
I
that the
feel
Red
like
Hood's thing?
They were handed. I feel like they were handed like gold, and they were like, "Cool, let's see how quickly we can f this up."
Well, I only know what I saw in the trailer. That looked cool to me. Batman IP.
Okay, now does it though? Does it now watch some of these? Like, I like that they're using the. I mean, look at this. I don't know. I just can't. It's too. I feel like they've jumped the shark here on what this is going to be. Like, they were like, oh, we're going to be telling a cool, gritty story about Batman being gone, and they're having to do all, and it's just like,
I get what you're saying.
Over the top shit.
At the same time, I will have to say, like, that's kind of how the comics went. So
yeah,
like,
yes,
it's almost like they're being too
Comics,
faithful. Yeah.
What'd you say, Sam?
What'd you say, Stop?
So
Oh, I said that's what I was gonna say. It seems like they were sticking more to like the comic lore. I mean, not like
Yeah.
lore, but you know what I mean. Like it's truer to the comics than we've seen like in the animated like stuff before.
Well, there's
Yeah,
your
'cause
problem.
they're trying to bring everything together with this Court of Owls right now, because they're the hopeful setup was that the Court of Owls would be one of the next movies, and that's
Maybe.
it's the long game that they're playing, because DC doesn't know how to fucking do this stuff.
What?
Well, I mean,
What?
when it comes to like live action stuff, yes, but their animated stuff is crazy good. And
Yeah.
speaking of, in the third season of Harley Quinn, the Court of Owls do make an appearance
Yes.
as the kind of cult that you would expect a secret cult to be.
I just like the
Yeah.
tone.
I'm gonna put that out there.
If you watch like the first trailer they released for this, where it was like Batgirl and Robin teaming up, like, I feel like the tone was much different, or at least like the way they were portraying the game and to where they are now. And I don't hate everything, I promise, guys. I just these two games I was like actually like pretty interested in and excited for, and now I'm worried and don't like both of these games right now, or like Forspoken and Gotham
Nice.
Knights. Like, the only way I'm playing them like right away is if they're on a subscription service of some type. There's no way I'm buying it.
I can feel that.
No way.
And honestly, with the way that WB is moving, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't touch Gotham Knights for that reason. So
Well, I mean, if Multiversus is anything to go by, it feels like they're making some really good video game decisions, like design wise. So maybe we'll just have to see how it plays out, because trailers have the really bad habit of giving people false expectations anyway, especially
it's valid.
for things like this, because people already have their preconceived notions because of a certain IP or whatever the game is dealing
Totally.
with.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to be thrown for a loop with a trailer when it doesn't meet not only the expectations that you had already, but the expectations that any previous trailers had already set.
Yeah.
I feel like they went too far, not gameplay wise, but just what the game is, or like not like mechanics and stuff, but like they went too far Marvel's Avengers and not Marvel's Spider-Man, like Insomniac Spider-Man. Like they went way over in this area here when everybody's like, no, just stay right here. Does that make sense? I hope I brought it back
Yeah.
around now.
I mean, I
Kinda,
understand
yeah.
how you feel that way. I will say the only thing that that was like a red flag to me or whatever is my buddy who's excited for this game told me that this doesn't have couch co-op, at least not on day one, which
Mm.
I believe the co-op is online. Co-op exists, just not couch co-op. And he had really been looking forward to playing that with his partner on the couch together. So that's a bummer, but
That's silly.
it is what it is. It's the times are a changing.
I don't know. I think I kind of like where it's going, like gameplay wise too. Because if we wanted like an Arkham game like proper, we could just go play the Arkham games.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. There are
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
I like the difference. It's going to be a new experience, and I mean that's definitely worth at least exploring.
Yeah, I liked the story from the Injustice games. I really am only familiar with the first one, but that to me was a cool thing. Even though I at the time wasn't really into fighting games at all, I didn't know anything about any of them. The story was just cool to see fleshed out. Even though most of the story happens between the gameplay, I still liked that was a different take on the same superhero stuff that I knew. Because at the time, Justice League from Netflix or wherever was the only superhero stuff I really did know. So to be able to see a different type of story being told with those characters, since I haven't read any of those comics, that was really cool. So yeah, I think with both of those, with Gotham Knights and Forspoken, I don't want to find myself too negative about them until until they're in people's hands, because I just even like watching that trailer. Was there gameplay in that? I mean, there was gameplay looking stuff.
Kinda, yeah.
Yes.
But still, I feel like I need to know more before I can have a strong opinion on it. But I see where you're coming from.
I've seen they did these like character breakdowns lately of like each member, Batgirl, Red Hood, Nightwing, and Robin, and I've watched those. That's sort of what started tipping the scale of me going, oh. And then like seeing this, I was like, okay, we're gonna see more story stuff. This might get me back. I was like, no, I just didn't. It wasn't for me. But hopefully it comes out and it gets good ratings, and then I gotta eat crow.
Is the Batgirl that's featured in this? Is that the Batgirl that was Robin before? What's her name? Cassandra, Samantha, something like that? Or is this
I'm pretty sure
Barbara?
Batgirl in this is Barbara.
Is it Barbara? Okay, because
Yeah.
I would say if it's Cassandra, or I think it's Cassandra,
Ca-
then that
yeah,
means that every
Cassie
character
Cain is-
featured will have been
yeah.
Robin at some point, which would have been really cool.
Yeah, because this is Damian Robin. I feel like if I remember
Okay.
right, I think it's Damian Robin, and of course Dick Grayson Nightwing.
Dick Grayson, Nightwing. Does that mean Red Hood is is it Jason
Jason
Todd?
Todd. Yeah.
Okay.
Jason Todd, yeah.
Man, does that mean that Batgirl is just basking in Robin's presence?
God damn it.
Oh my!
Get out.
All right.
Get out of here right now.
Well, that's wrapping it up
Moving
on
on.
Gotham Knights. The last thing we've got on this list is
Security. Wait.
is Sonic Frontiers. Sav, let's hear a little bit about that.
Oh, that's me. Okay, so we learned a lot about what to expect gameplay wise, more so from this trailer than we have in the past. because all we saw before with that 8-minute game kind of preview was just Sonic running through that big open world Breath of the Wild like uh you know subworld. Um, but this trailer not only shows us more about like traditional new age Sonic gameplay, which is a weird mix of words to say, traditional and new age, but that's what modern Sonic is. So we have the same boosting through like the storybook Sonic kind of 3D levels. We also have like the side-scrolling element levels as well. So it's cool to see that they're fusing the old. We're still going to be seeing some of that modern Sonic in Sonic Frontiers, but
Yo, this
people aren't
trailer's dope.
excited about that. They are excited about the new open world stuff, and that's why I really like this trailer is because it shows off all of the skills and things that we can use as Sonic. Because at first we just saw like the Psy loop, which is where you're running and you have that trail of light that you can enclose upon itself to like trigger something. But now we see like a different kind, like flurries of attacks where he can summon like orbs, like a ring of orbs. He's got sonic kicks that he can do. And at the end of the trailer, they show off like pre-order bonuses, part of which are defense and attack boosts and skill points. So it's going to be more RPG than like if you haven't played a game like Sonic Battle, or by which I mean the Game Boy Advance one, not Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube, or Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood, which was for the DS. If you haven't played a game like that, or honestly the storybook Sonic games like the Black Knight and Seven Rings, then you probably won't be used to Sonic having like a skill tree or anything like that to upgrade. And we also see in this trailer that we see Amy, who actually is showing up right now on screen. Uh,
Hmm.
she's trapped in like a prison. So it makes me wonder if they'll be playable or if they're just kind of like objectives, like story beats. Because if they are playable, any of the Sonicverse characters, then that really cements the Dark Brotherhood feel for me, and I'm really, really excited about that because Dark Brotherhood was slept on. It was a good game. So yeah, that's how I have to say about Sonic Frontiers. I'm really excited to see where this new antagonist comes from. Like, I don't know anything about her except for she's like basically Mewtwo, apparently. So
Yeah, I just loved that part of the trailer at the very beginning. It's like you're messing up this entire world, and Sonic's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna press this button." It looks really good. This looks way better than the freaking basically test demo that we saw from IGN a couple months back. This is really
Mhm.
nice.
Well, sweet. I'm interested. This is the first substantial anything from this game that I've seen. Looks pretty cool. Reminds me of the meshing of, like you said, of old school and modern Sonic games, the way that Super Mario Odyssey did, blending the 3D and 2D stuff well enough that it was still something new, but it was very. You can immediately tell what's going on. There've been a few Sonic games for me since I really only played Sonic Adventures 2.
It's the only one you need to play.
Yeah, that's how I felt because a lot of games I'm just like, there's stuff going on here. I just don't know if it's worth checking out. And a lot of the games move a little faster than I really feel comfortable even watching. Um, it's such a breakneck speed that I'm just like, I can't tell. I don't have Super Saiyan eyes. I can't see them. They're moving too quickly, and I find it very overwhelming. So that looks good. Just I don't know if I'm gonna play it, but this is the most interested I've been in a Sonic game in 20 years.
Well, a Sonic game that's like not a remake of an old Sonic game like Origins or Mania.
Yeah.
Right.
Then is there anything else we have to say from Gamescom? We saw a Callisto Protocol trailer that was just as gory as the last one. We saw the character get into some combat, which included a lot more melee, which I like, but it's kind of seemed a little clunky. Which,
Yeah.
whatever. I think in trailers like this, it's always going to look. It almost always looks worse than it is in reality. I think that's rarely a positive. Like melee combat in a shooter type game like this rarely looks as good as it ends up being. But we saw some of that. So we saw some of the gross enemies they reminded me of the parasite from Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah, the Las Plagas. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
The cool thing was that it was the mutations is the new thing that they showed in this trailer that we didn't see before. But I mean, it like you did mention, it was a little clunky. for what we saw here for this game releasing in December, I think it was December, or was it October, which is even worse. Okay. It seemed a little bit more unfinished than I'd like to see, but it does look cool.
Yeah, December 2nd, 2022. Yeah, I would agree with that. I hope this ends up good. I mean, there's cool stuff about it. It's obviously made by the Dead Space crew. Um, so there's really interesting stuff there. We saw like an environmental sliding sequence, right? Like your classic, oh no, we're sliding down a waterfall looking thing for a really, really long time. Dodge the traps, you know. For some reason, they put grindy wheels in here to grind up stuff that's in the water, I guess. Why? But the character dodges a bunch of those and then does not dodge this giant whirling fan blade. Gets gruesomely chopped in half. You remember when we showed the last one? I was like, I don't know if we should show this. Trigger warning for the end of this trailer. It's pretty brutal. And Saw was like, I haven't seen it. And we got to the end. Oh, dude, that's excessive. Yeah, we did need a trigger warning.
Oh, yeah. And the Gamescom was co-streamed yesterday, so they probably got a few people with that one.
Oh, yeah. So same thing.
It's like a fatality. It was basically a fatality.
Yeah, because they had a name for it. It was like dynamic death sequences or something. But an official name for what that is, which is what I remember Dead Space for the most. I've told you guys about just the very memorable deaths in that game. And it seems like you're going to have that in this one, too. Like, you really don't want to die because your character's going to have some terrible ending. He's not just going to fall over dead,
The character model was still breathing at the end of that clip.
Nasty.
That's what's fucked up about it. It was really like, oh, shit. When I noticed that, I'm like, okay, that's nice. Very nicely done.
Y'all can have this one.
Yeah.
We know we're never gonna get you to play that.
I mean, sub goal maybe, but.
So that was Gamescom. Gamescom is still going on. That was really the first day, especially that we covered, and then some stuff from the second day. 5 more days as of this recording. There's a bunch more. So that's over in Germany. You got Jeff Keighley as the host of that, returning from last year.
Demos. There's not a ton of demos, but there's some demos and stuff on Steam to go check out as well.
Hell yeah. All right, that was a nice little break.
We back.
Oof, I feel like a new man. I'm up one whole bowl of noodles. Nice thing about noodles.
The other Tegan is dead. Duh.
Yep, I made a clone. I am actually the copy from Overloop of myself. I don't know if I'm the real Tegan or if I'm just a clone. So it's very sad. Please don't talk about it on stream. Anyway, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. I have a game that I was playing, but I don't really have anything new to say about it. So we're gonna leave that to Sav. Sav, let's start off with Multiversus. It's a game we've been talking about for a little while on here. Fun. Just came out with some new stuff. We got a bunch of players now in our community playing it together. It's 2v2, like you mentioned earlier, which means when you want somebody to play with, you only need one person. Makes it super easy to squad up for.
Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, shoot, earlier I was hanging out before the show, watching Shanny Pack play Fallout 4. He's been streaming out in the Discord, so I've been doing that while playing other stuff. Watching him play, and my friend hops in and says, hey, anybody want to play Multiversus? And as soon as Shanny instantly said yes, I was like, oh man, it's not a 3-player game.
Aww.
But it's fine. I was happy to play my own stuff. But the 2-player is nice, but it's like unexpected, right? Because now we almost have a community that has so many players that it's difficult to accommodate. It's difficult having to use different rule sets or approaches for each game. But anyway, enough of me yapping. Tell us about your first-hand experience with Multiversus.
So recently they just released Morty. Morty came out, one of the characters that we knew were coming out in the future with this new season, but everybody expected Rick first, which is, I mean, fair, because the show is called Rick and Morty. So the way that they advertise it is that a Morty has appeared, or, whatever, joins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But like a Morty, not like the Morty. So I think that that's really cool that they did that, because we were talking last time about how, we were speculating on which Morty they would put in there because there are like so many. We talk about pocket Mortys and stuff. So the fact that they said a Morty is really, really fun to me.
Yeah, so I can canonically to have multiple Mortys on the field is just a normal Morty thing, you know.
It doesn't have to be C-137 Morty, so hey.
Right.
Right. And I haven't really had much gameplay with him myself, so I'm not exactly certain what kind of like variants and stuff are available. Like if there are different Mortys, like if we do have that evil Morty,
The one true
that I like speculated on last time. But from what I've seen, like fighting against Morty, he's crazy. He's crazy, and he's just like a bruiser, which you don't expect for someone so like small and thin and Morty. So the just the kind of crazy brain plays that you can make with him is so cool. Like he's got a portal that he can like I think that's how he returns to stage. Is like he travels through this portal and it stays on stage. I haven't seen anybody use it
Oh,
for
really?
anything other than traversal. So I'm not really sure all of the depths that you can do, like anything. I haven't like checked the move list or anything with Morty because I just go in there and I play my Wonder Woman and I'm happy. But so I just kind of like dove in and have been fighting. You know, it's a new character. It's gonna be double teams of the new characters. You know, while people each want to play them. But he's got the portal. His blaster is really cool because it's a single projectile that if it hits you and knocks you back or whatever. But if it doesn't hit you, after a certain distance traveled, it splits off into two other projectiles that then travel perpendicular to in opposite directions to where your initial projectile was fired.
You
So say
know,
you fire it forward, and then it'll split off into two projectiles that travel then up and down. Likewise, if you fire it upwards or downwards, it'll then split into projectiles that travel left and right.
well, that's like the Calzog or whatever the League of Legends character is, the like void laser alien thingy. You know, it's like
Karthix, maybe? I'm not sure.
no,
My League of Legends lore is like
the character's like basically a big space eyeball. It's like it's Cal. It starts with the K, but yeah, you shoot like a projectile forward and then it arcs out perpendicularly.
yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah, which is funny. Like between that and some of the cooldowns, I've heard people in our community talking about how this game is a lot more similar to League of Legends with like the cooldowns and support, like styles of support where it's like any character could really be a
Roles and
carry
stuff. Yeah.
if you want him to be, you know, and if you play him a certain way. Just not something I expected we'd have that would be in the conversation when this game first came out. Like, just the more I learn about this, the more interesting it becomes.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing they got going on. I like it.
Yeah. One of the guys in our Discord was absolutely railing on Morty for being a bad character.
Mhm.
But
Really?
yeah, but every time he's talked about, he'll be like, "Well, I had this opinion, and then I talked to Sav, and then I realized Sav was right." He's said that like 3 different times on things that you've told him, like advice and stuff. So he's like, "I'm pretty sure, like maybe I just don't get it yet, but yeah, I certainly don't get it yet." But I got a good kick out of that. I haven't played Morty yet. I did play Velma yesterday. I barely knew her kit, but
You've got a lot.
yeah, she's got a lot. I almost ran myself off the stage a couple times, but you know what? It's a good time.
Well, with Morty, that might not be an issue because it's funny you mentioned League of Legends because there's a character in that game called Echo who has like a point in time that they can like fixate with one of their abilities and then do a whole bunch of stuff and then kind of rewind back to their initial starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Morty has that ability too. I haven't really seen anybody use it smartly, but it's really cool. The kind of things that it's almost it eliminates the risk of maybe going off stage, like going ham, more than you should probably. If you have a plan and you even for a second think that you might mess it up, activate the ability, go do your thing, and then maybe you get knocked away or whatever. But then bam, back to your starting point. So I think that's really cool. It's just so different than what I imagined Morty to play like. But I guess I really didn't know what to expect because I didn't know which Morty they would put in there anyway.
Yeah,
So
right. Morty's an absolute wild card.
yeah.
What a fun character to add. Vel'Koz was the character that I was thinking of.
Vel'Koz,
There was a
okay.
K in there, just not where I thought. Well, yeah, well, that's Multiversus. As I keep saying, if you want to watch Multiversus. I'm sure you'll see Sav play it sometime on their channel at twitch.tv/sovereignsid. That's Sovereign SYD.
Hey.
Hashtag ad. Just kidding. But yeah, go follow Sav. Lots of stuff. Actually, Sav, do you want to talk about your other game right now? I was gonna bring up Rumbleverses, not Rumbleverse, Rumbleverse. But I didn't see it on
yes.
your list this week, which surprised me.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've been kind of playing that off and on because it still has that problem right now where it's just like I'm not motivated to play because there's nothing to play for. Like there's no progression to be made in the battle
Yeah.
pass or whatever. Although it's been a while since I've played, so they may have released the battle pass without my notice. I'll have to check later. So right now I'm playing another game. It is one that I played maybe like 2, 3 years ago. Um, and then they like did a bunch of changes that I didn't like, so I started playing something else. And then it went like on hiatus for a while, and now it has resurfaced. And that game is Realm Royale. And so that has been rebranded as Realm Royale Reforged. And you know I love me some alliteration. Alliteration is awesome. So
Alliteration is
I-
amazing.
it is amazing. It's like for those who are uninitiated, by the way, because I've done this before where I like go on the rails about a game and then people don't have any idea what it is. Realm Royale is a battle royale it takes place in the Paladins universe, so it is done by Hi-Rez. It takes place in the Paladins universe. As of yet, as far as I know, there are no like Paladins cameos that I found, or by way of like skins or like NPCs that you see out in the wild, or just like even the captain of the ship that you now dive in on. But of course, I don't know a lot about Paladins, so I could be wrong on that. It's just as far as I know, like I said. But you dive in, it's a standard battle royale. You dive in, there's 100 people that you go. But it's more archaic. I kind of want to say it's not like medieval because there still are guns and stuff, but the guns are like, you know, decked out with like straw and tape and stuff. It's not like a military grade like AK-47 is just sitting right there.
Right.
It definitely looks the part. But then there are also um, weapons like magic staves. There's a mage class that you can play that has a fire staff or an ice staff that you can use. And there are fireballs that you could throw, and you heal like an armor up through potions and things like that. So it's very archaic in that fashion as well. But speaking of, we were talking about classes earlier. That Multiversus has. This has that too. So you don't go in. It's just like you're one person that has like a whole bunch of amalgam of weapons that you could choose from. There are classes in this game. So there's the warrior, which is like your basic barbarian. You run in there with like throwing axes and swords and whatnot. There's the assassin, which is the assassin. Although it's kind of tricky because you don't have like kunai and throwing stars and things like that of that nature, or poison or whatever. You just go up there straight up with a sniper rifle. So there's that. And then there's the hunter, which is more like your rogue kind of play that you're traditionally used to. So there's crossbows, longbows, things like that you can do. Dodge rolling, you're very dexterous. And then there's the mage class, which is the one that I prefer to play, which can attack with the staves that I mentioned earlier. So you've got your fireball that you could cast with your staff, and it's basic splash damage, but burning damage over time that you can do. And then there's the ice staff, which fires in 3-round bursts at long range. So it's pretty deadly if you're like really good at long range combat, and it's a very handy way to combat the hunter class because that thing is atrocious. Oh my gosh. I think it's like the most broken class right now if you're doing solos. Mage is definitely more group oriented, I feel like. But you know what? I'm going there by myself anyway. Whatever. Magic. So you have your combat like that as well.
You said this, but the game, like, what are the options of solo versus team play? And when you play, are you playing solo or do you like playing on a team as a go off and do your own thing situation?
I just go in there. I do solos right now, mostly because random teams online in a BR is always going to be really tricky.
Oh yeah.
And especially since I don't like to use voice chat because people be weird, internet be weird. So I mean, they do have like the basic ping system that you've come to expect from Battle Royale, and it is a high res game, so it has the same ping system that Road Company has. Where you have like the 3 wheels of communication that you can cycle through,
Nice.
and they each have their own keyboard shortcut. So communication in that game is definitely more what's the word I'm looking for? Not verbose, robust. It's more robust than like you might be expected of something like this. But also, I just like I like the way that it handles the battle royale in general because it has the classes in there, but then you also have universal weapons and combat abilities. So like generic rifles and generic abilities such as healing stations that you can use, or even there's actual generic fireball that you can have. There's fire flasks that you could throw, and things like that. So even though your class has access to class specific things, you can still build like your own sort of personal class, so to speak, if you want.
But
And
can
then
you
there's like the
paint it
forge
as a
system.
miniature? Is that?
No, you cannot,
Oh well.
unless you buy skins. Because of course you do have to. They have to have that monetization system in there, in some fashion. But there's
Naturally.
like the mounting that you can do to traverse the map more frequently on foot, and then there's the forge system where you can craft weapons, and you can either craft the universal or class specific weapons, or you can upgrade. You can also craft potions, which is really nice because unless you find potion chests or KO a person, they're kind of rare. So the fact that you could just craft them at the forge is really cool. But yeah, Realm Royale, it is free on all platforms, literally all platforms. And yeah, it's fun. It's a good game.
That's wonderful. So that was Multiversus and Realm Royale Reforged. That alliteration at the beginning when you were like, "I love alliterations," and y'all know, or I forget exactly what you said, but I thought you were going to define for us what an alliteration was instead of defining what the game was. Chris, let's bounce over to you.
Yes.
Let's hear about Solar Ash. So you beat it this week, yeah?
Yes, I beat it like the day after we podcasted last. And damn, that ending is phenomenal. Depending on what you pick. Because there's a choice to be made at the end of the game. But wow. I can't say anything about it without spoiling anything. I did take a line from it and like post it, but it was non-consequential. Like it didn't spoil anything. But the ending of that game has got some feels to it. And that game is fantastic. It's a short little fun thing. So when it's on sale, pick that shit up because I can't believe it took me that long to play it. So cool. The level design and everything is just insane. Every time you get into a level and then you like look up and realize that there's like another level above you, basically that you'll eventually be at later on while playing this level. Just insanity.
You know, well, that reminds me of what you said with Prey that I wouldn't have realized until much later on my own. But that space station that you're in, you travel between it. You know, there are loading screens between the areas, but you're inside the space station. But you can also go outside the space station to quickly travel between areas. And that outside area is a 1-to-1 scale of the inside. So it's actually that big. The station is actually exactly that size inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me. So like that makes sense that from what we've seen in here, like it seems very vertical, with cool traversal and stuff.
What I mean is like you would see this level and then you'd like glance up and see that there's another thing to traverse higher up above you that you can't reach yet, and you're just like, how do I get there? And then just everything just flows together so damn well. It's great. It's fantastic. And then like, so if you watch that little documentary, the Hyperlight Breaker doc that they're doing on No Clip, you kind of learn what some of these people were going through during this time because a lot of Solar Ash was being worked on during COVID. And so to have the ending the way that it is just like, damn, you guys put like real life stuff and emotions into this that I wasn't expecting. Which I should know that because that's what they do. With Hyperlight Drifter being a lot about his own struggles with his health. But yeah, the game is phenomenal, and you should all play it because it rules.
Heck yeah. Well, sweet. I'm glad you beat that. That was like a 10 or 12 hour game. I think we established.
Yeah, something like that. I think
I think
it
that's
could
what I
have gone a little
default to.
longer.
You guys could tell me anything, and I'm like, yeah, 10 hours. Is that right? You're like,
Let's
I
see what
said
the
25, but yeah, sure.
I said 43 minutes.
This game only has 2 levels. Well, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that the ending held up to how you're feeling with the rest of it.
Yeah, Solar Ash 5 hours, main plus extras 7 hours, completionist 8.5.
Cool. So definitely,
So what I'm hearing is that it's 8.5. Got it.
for
Yeah.
me it would be. That's a 10-hour game for me. Let's bounce over Vilos. Let's hear about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Chris spoke on Guardians a while back, like basically on release, right? But
Uh, No, I ended up playing it like a few months after when it was on crazy sale. It was like because it came out last year, right?
yeah,
So it
Yeah.
was
yeah,
probably on sale
seems
around
weird.
Christmas time or something like that, and that's when I swooped it up
Yeah,
for like $30 or whatever.
Yeah, and I talked
so
about like watching the gameplay through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so since I picked up a Series S over the weekend, I really decided, you know what, because the PC version I think was like 75 gigabytes or something. Uh, so the Series S obviously has some better I guess like compression. Like the file sizes are always different on the actual console versus the PC, and that was the case for Guardian. So I was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna grab it because the Game Pass is fucking phenomenal, and that game is so wild. It's just weird that they could capture literally all of James Gunn's heart of the Guardians of the Galaxy from the movies and then put it into effectively, these completely different actors, but tell a story that melds both the comic books and the Guardians story that we already know. It's so funny. It's so well written. The characters are the characters that we know and love from the films. The actor that plays Rocket is like mind blowingly close to Bradley
I
Cooper.
thought
It's
it was
ridiculous.
him.
It's
Like it's that close.
really, really fucking close. um, but it's got all the typical Star Lord angsty kind of stuff. But you've also got the decision making that you actually are leading the the team because you get to side with different characters throughout the story. And I don't know exactly to what end that's going to lead to, but it's like you're building certain relationships in order to make a better ending for yourself and the team. Um, like right now, Star Lord and Gamora are definitely not a thing. It feels like the very beginning of the first movie, uh, without a few steps, I guess. But you're exploring some really far out worlds that that are just very video gamey in the way that we've only seen them in video games, not necessarily movies until things like Guardians came out. Uh, and it's just a really really well executed way to do this. This is really how a lot of team based comic book games should be. Like Gotham Knights really could have learned from this.
Yes.
I'm quite sure. Uh, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's all very smooth. The combat is a little weird, but I don't think it's janky. It's just so unfamiliar because you actively have to command the Guardians to do different things. They have different skills, and from somebody that's been playing as 6 to 7 party members with different classes for 150 hours, I understood why I would do that. But at the same time, it wasn't as quick of a system as it is in Xenoblade. So um, it's a nice action, almost RPG sort of situation that's really worth playing. I apparently How Long to Beat says it gets up to about 25-30 hours. So really looking forward to smashing through that. I got through about a quarter of it over the weekend. So really good stuff.
Heck yeah.
It's a cool game.
Yeah, we've said this
It's
before,
actually
but
pretty good.
the difference between our initial reactions when it was first announced to where we are today is black and white.
Yeah, I really did not have any faith in it, honestly.
So that's really nice to hear. I mean, just another person who loves it. That makes 4 of us. I'm excited. This game is on the PlayStation Premium, like the top tier of their package now,
Yes,
and
it is.
I'm really excited. Lizzie's gonna play that, so I'm gonna be able to watch it myself. Because I don't think I'll play it only because of time, not because of any equality of the game. But now I'm excited that I'll be able to see that and enjoy it with my partner. So, hell yeah, add that to the list of good living room games, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. Just
Totally.
in the first couple chapters of it, um, I'm not going to ruin why there was a llama in that trailer, but right after that, you meet up with this hardcore captain of this particular ship, and like it actually takes you through the motions of Star-Lord dealing with meeting someone that he might have produced a kid with at some point, and it very much like it gives you the story in the Guardians way. It's like, oh, this shit's funny in the celestial sense, it's funny, but at the same time, it makes it so real, and you're like, oh shit, this is actually serious. But then these characters know each other so well that it's not even an issue. It's like, listen, we have to do some things to keep living, and dealing with that situation is not going to be one of them, so
Right.
we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's it's so well characterized.
It's
Cannot
really
Also,
recommend
that
it enough.
captain be a bad bitch though.
Yo, she
Mm. Yeah,
Yes.
not tell me.
yes yes
Mm.
Well, I'll bounce over to one that I played with you this weekend, Vilos. We
Hell yeah.
played Back for Blood. Had a lot of time. I mean, we played a bunch of that on Sunday. It was
That was a full work shift. That was 8 hours.
yeah. I played with you guys until Russ got there, and then it was perfect because there were 3 people playing Rogue Company. I was able to drop all of my items in the game, hop over to Rogue Company, and Russ was able to log in, pick up my stuff, my money, my 2 legendary weapons, which exist as of this expansion, and finish out that act that we had been working on for a while. So that was an absolute blast. We've played Back for Blood a bunch before. Recently, the Tunnels of Terror expansion came out, which gives you these hives that appear on, any of the normal levels, and they're totally optional. You can decide to go into them. You go underground, and they'll have all sorts of new special conditions. Some of them are, hey, your health is slowly rotting away, but if you get kills, it will slow the rot. Like it'll briefly pause that, your health bar just ticking down. Another one that somebody mentioned was that there are oxygen tanks in one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That you have to you're constantly running out of oxygen. You have to either pick up the tanks or go get to a safe area before you run out.
Yeah, like there's actually an area of effect that you can see. It's a blue area that is this oxygen bubble that's produced by the few tanks that are just sitting on like a box sort of thing.
Mhm.
And you're in a freaking cave, and you have to run until you find it, and your oxygen level's just flying down.
Oh my gosh! Cue the Sonic
Sonic
drowning.
drowning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. We did every hive that we could get our hands on because we wanted to see what the game had to offer. We originally got our butts kicked on the veteran difficulty, which we most regularly play these days. But we were like, you know what? We want to actually see these hives. We want to do some winning. So we started at the very beginning of the game, left it on the recruit, beginner difficulty, and we just cleaned up. We spent that whole day just cruising. Oh, in the trailer, as I was just speaking, I could see the shotgun that I was carrying as we went. I picked up in one of these hives a legendary shotgun called I'd have to pull it up. I thought I had it on the tip of my tongue, but it's something to do with fire.
Hellfire.
It was fire and brimstone. I think that's what it was. And this shotgun, it causes fire damage on all of its pellets. So if one single pellet hits a zombie, they catch on fire, and it does more damage than a regular Ridden's health. with any hit. So if I fire my shotgun into a crowd, every single pellet will kill a zombie, which feels great. They all get caught on fire. Sometimes the animations don't really line up, so it looks like the zombies are just dancing because you can't see the fire. But they wiggle until they fall over, dance until they die. And the shotgun also makes me immune to fire, which was perfect because I had taken an item, an armor piece that was like, I get extra stun resistance or something, I don't remember. Maybe damage resistance. But I am very, very vulnerable to fire. So when I found this shotgun, I was like, oh, that drawback doesn't matter anymore. I'm just going to carry this thing around. And it was a shotgun. It was one of the AA-12s that the game has, with a drum magazine. This bad boy has 30 bullets in it before you have to reload. It's a shotgun. That's a lot of
Oh my
bullets.
Yeah, it's like, hey Tegan, there's a horde coming. Oh,
Bang,
okay.
bang, 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 bang. And it was fun to be excessive with that. And because the game was so easy, we could all just play very ridiculously. So I could just hold the trigger down the whole time and eventually be like, okay, guys, I need some ammo. I know you're not using it, so throw it my way. The other weapon I found was called the Tenderizer. It was basically a super sledge from Fallout 4. This is a sledgehammer that you have to reload because every time it hits an enemy, there's basically a landmine on the end of it that explodes in this huge, spectacular explosion. It's just silly. No one could ever use that weapon in real life. You'd just blow your hands off. But it was very entertaining. I might be able to go back and find cut a clip of us back in the jukebox area that we like so much.
The best.
Just firing the shotgun, swinging the hammer, throwing Molotov cocktails, and standing in the fire because I'm immune to it. I did realize after throwing a Molotov and standing in it that I'm only immune to the fire when my shotgun is equipped. I stood there with my sledgehammer out and I was like, ha ha ha, this hurts a lot. I'm on fire. But it was wonderful. We played that, all day on Sunday, and I'm ready to jump back in. We got to explore. I mean, shoot, we logged on, and we spent an hour fooling around waiting for our fourth person to show up, just because there were so many cards that you build to make your character, right? You unlock all these cards, and you can put 15 cards in a deck, and that deck is what you use. That's your loadout. In the game. And so we spent the first hour just fooling around making new loadouts to mix and match with each other since we know what each other plays. So it'd be like, if you're not playing your SMG class, I'm going to make an SMG class. And, you're not going to use that perk? Oh, then I'll put that on mine. Because there are so many perks now that are team-oriented. They don't just affect you. It'll say, you have 10% less health, but everyone can carry an extra, frag grenade. And stuff like that. There are ones that I don't think any of us have used yet that say at the cost of ammo, you can actually heal your team. You just get like a big heal as if it was like Lucio or something in Overwatch, But just lots of cool stuff. I had a blast doing that. So we found out that only one person needs to own the annual pass or whatever DLC you're playing. If one person owns it, everyone can play it. That person has to start the missions, but whatever, that doesn't, there's no drawback to that. So
yeah,
I would have been completely willing to play or to pay for the season pass, but Odysseus owned it, so all four of us got to play, which was fantastic. So I think next week the expansion 2 comes out, the Prophets of the Worm, or
something like
Cult
that.
of the Worm or something. Prophet Dan is the new character. But yeah, it's something of the worm. Children of the Worm, that's what it is. That's going to come out, and we're going to see even more new stuff, because down in those caves, the characters keep making remarks that the Ridden don't seem to be the only ones hanging out down there. So presumably the expansion will mostly take place in the actual hives, which is fine with me. We did have a funny situation when we played. One of the hives is tiered. So you keep going down, 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 but once you go down, you can't go back up. There's no way to go back up, period. We didn't totally know that, and we got separated and one of us, that was you, right, Vilos?
Oh yeah, one of us got separated. Yeah, I'm
Vilos is
totally
the
the one
only
that
person
does
who
that first.
Vilos was the only person who didn't fall off the cliff. So when the zombies got him, there was no way for us to revive him. We had this fantastic moment. I wish I was recording where Vilos watches me go around the corner, and I said the words out loud. Oh, look, something shiny. And I walked over, and then one of those sleepers or whatever jumped off the wall and tackled me, which like takes you out. Someone has to come over and help you. So he just watched me. Ooh, shiny. Ah!
Yeah, because I'm the one character that can see the sleepers through walls, and I fucking saw it like a split second before you did that. It was the best.
It was wonderful. And then just moments later, a horde shows up, and so it's all chaos and stuff because this area had a ton of explodey barrels around. Well, I guess I was standing too close to one, and Odysseus shot one. It barely did any damage to me, but it knocked me off the cliff, and so suddenly I'm just like, oh, there are just as many zombies around, but now I'm alone. But just a bundle of fun. So that's Back for Blood. We're playing that on Game Pass, but that game has crossplay with everything. So highly recommend. We're gonna keep playing that for a long time to come.
I hope when Dark Tide finally comes out, the Warhammer game that's sort of like that, you guys will hop in there with me since it's also on Game Pass.
Yeah, that'll be
Very
nice.
similar type of game.
I would check that
I'm
out
looking
because
forward to playing Redfall. That's what I want to play.
yeah, I want to
Hell
see
yeah.
both of those. I think I'm more optimistic for Redfall. I really want to like the Warhammer one, but I know that Vermintide 2, which I was interested in, didn't seem to get a whole bunch of support. It's a game very similar to Back 4 Blood and Left 4 Dead, just in a different setting, different time, and that one you're talking about, Chris, is also that's in like a medieval type setting too, right? Or am I mixing that up?
No, Dark Tide is the Space Marines and stuff.
Cool.
Chris,
Well, I hope
sorry, it's a meme. It's a meme. It's a Warhammer meme.
I hope that I want to play both of those. I hope to play both of those. I just hope that Warhammer does the upkeep they need on that game to maintain it. Because I think in Vermintide their issue is that they just didn't continue updating the game afterwards. Also, they didn't have dang crossplay, so when my friend bought it on Steam and I had it on Game Pass, all we could do was cry about it.
Dang.
But that's okay. We got Back for Blood, and I'm happy with that. What have we got next? Chris, let's bounce back to you.
Yeah.
Let's hear some more about Skul. You were playing that earlier today.
Yeah, Skul the Hero Slayer. I was bored today and was like, I'm playing my sports games, I'm playing my Madden and all that. But I wanted, now that I finished Solar Ash, I needed an indie game to kind of, I needed something to do some runs in or some, just eat chunks of time. And I remember somebody kind of mentioning Skull, and so basically I downloaded like several games today from Game Pass that I was like, oh, this will probably scratch an itch. And so I started playing Skull, and this game is insane. Basically, it is like a Dead Cells like, but you play a little skeleton, and the skeleton can switch heads. So you just have like your base head that you can throw, and when you throw it, it does like magic damage to an enemy, and you can press the right trigger, and you will like warp to wherever your head is.
That's cool.
But then you can also like pick up other heads that have like other special like crazy abilities. Like the one I really started really digging was like a samurai head, and I picked it up and put it on, and it gave me completely different skills and all this. It's very Dead Cells like. Every time you go in, it's going to be different. I've been in the first world, got to the second world, but in the first world, I've fought 5 different bosses when I got to the boss area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's very, very cool, very stylish. I think it's not from. I need to figure out where this comes from because they did like it's all like typed out text, right? And then all of a sudden it's not. And it's like it's being like it's either in Japanese or or something like that. And I was like, what is this? What is going on? Where is this from? Let me check out
It's Korean.
Korean. Okay.
Southpaw Games. Yeah.
Yes. So I was like, what is this? Where is like, because I just didn't expect it. But it's really cool, really stylish. Like I'm really early on in it. But just needed something that is a time killer. That I can hop on and play, you know, be like, all right, I'm gonna do a couple runs in here and then go do something else. But that mechanic of the skulls is insane. You can have up to two of them equipped, and then you switch between them. Which, when you switch, you do like a special maneuver, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. It's very Dead Cells. It's very hard. It's very hard. Like I was getting very frustrated early on because you're pretty weak early on. But it's cool if you're into those kind of games. It's on Game Pass. Like, go check it out. No reason not to. If you got the Game Pass. So I was enjoying myself with it. Something fun to play before Tinykin comes out.
Yeah,
in 5,
baby.
which I'm excited because I also think Tinykin is going to work really, really well with the touchscreen on the cloud gaming for the phone, because you're not doing any much combat. You're doing a little platforming, but it's not anything crazy. So I feel like I'm going to be able to be like upstairs, like laying in bed playing Tinykin on my phone.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been trying to find something to play that works with touch controls on my phone, and it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Because you know, stuff where you don't have to do a lot is fine. Like As Dusk Falls works great on it, but we did that already, and I was kind of like, I'm good with going back and finding out more. I think I'm all right. And I wanted to play, you know, one of these roguelites, or you know, one of those,
Mhm.
and trying to play that on your phone,
No.
not ideal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need some more precise controls,
Yep.
especially with like hectic combat. It's like that's not gonna.
There's no way. When I played Dead Cells for a very brief time, and every time I picked it back up, because I was playing other games like Hades or Splunky, I was tripping over my thumbs playing that game because there's so much going on, and you need to like the movement and combat leaves you a lot of variability in the way that you move around. So when you're not like spending time to really get comfortable with it, it's difficult to play. And that's with a full controller full of buttons. I can't imagine even playing that on a keyboard.
I will say in playing Skull, like beating up on this enemy and turning and throwing my head over at the other enemy, hitting him, and then once I killed this guy, warping over to the other enemy and killing him feels phenomenal. It's like that felt awesome. I bet I could
Nice.
do some really cool stuff once I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you love that though? Like being able to
yeah.
like imagine, you know, because of a roguelike or even a battle royale, which I compare, is like anytime you start a fresh run, you're like anything could happen. You know,
Yep.
the only limiting factor really is me, but if I can adapt to the situation, anything is possible.
Yeah. I thought about like diving back into like Curse of the Dead Gods, but I'd already kind of done a lot in that, and I was like, I don't need to do that again. So I was looking for, you know, something fun like that to play, and I think I found it. So it gives me, you know, the 5 days or 6 days or whatever it is until Tinykin comes out to give me something to absorb some hours. So
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. This game is on my list of games to play as well. I've had it sitting in my like Game Pass bank for like a while now.
yes,
And I kind of wanted to save it for the times when I'm like at work and it's dead because I have Game Pass on my Steam Deck. So I feel like
Yep.
this would be a really good game to play on that. Plus, Lord Chrome, he plays it like a lot. Like I see
Yeah.
him playing it all the time. And
Oh,
so,
playing Skull.
mm-hmm. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
like when I saw it on your list of notes, I was like, ooh, okay, intrigue, because like that's, you know, it's like a really fast paced like roguelike game. And I was just like, okay, I want to see what Chris thinks about this, and I'm glad you like it because it looks like a fun game, and I can't wait to play it myself.
It's just wild, the different heads, and like I know I've like barely scratched the surface of what this game is. And when I was getting my ass kicked, the game was like, oh, we see you've been getting your ass kicked. Here's some stuff that might help you. And it's like, here's a cool item that's really going to help you out. I think it was something insane. Like I got a really cool item that was like, here's plus 50% attack speed. Here's plus 40% movements. Like, I
Wow.
was like, yes, thank you. Give me all those things. I need that.
I'm gonna
Um,
make it a double.
the different styles of heads and stuff is just great. Like I got one where I turned into like this elemental water creature. There's one where I was Groot, basically. There was a samurai, just a regular little knight, like a knight with a crazy heavy sword. I'm just like, I know I've only seen like 5 or 6 of these things, and there's probably tons. So yeah, it's very cool little game.
Heck yeah.
Just try not to get ahead of yourself.
Ah.
Oh.
Hey.
Boo. I'm gonna bounce back to me real quick, and then Vilas will end it with your last game. I'm gonna bounce over to Deep Rock Galactic, which is another tried and true game, just like Back for Blood. We've gotten a lot of mileage from this one in our community, but in this one, season 2 just came out. I didn't even know. So you have a ship that it serves as your like hub when you're getting your crew together. You can turn on music and your characters dance. You can order beer. There's some fun mini games, or you can just explore. You can turn off the gravity. It's just a quality little hub area, right? Well, apparently there's been a terminal there the whole time that had like a season pass thing on it, and I had no idea. So I unlocked a bunch of stuff that I've had the currency to since I started playing this game. But the second season came out a little while ago. I briefly talked about it. Basically, there's new enemies. There are robots and stuff that are introduced into the game as either the focus of missions or as additional modifiers on other missions. So it'll be like, oh, this over here is a normal mission, except now there's rivals presence, which means occasionally robots will just spawn and try to attack you. And some other stuff. There's fun stuff like one of the bosses that you can find in one of the areas is a big souped up version of your of Molly the Mule, which is a robot that accepts all of your minerals. You deposit all your minerals into it. It's a big version of that tries to kill you, but once you kill it, it will fight for you. You can hack it, and so now you've got a big, huge, explosive shooting mech thing that often shoots bugs, sometimes shoots you. You know, it's how the business goes. But we've been really having a good time with that. We didn't play it as long as Back for Blood, but we did have a group of 4 going this weekend, and Odysseus and I have been playing 2-man runs of this. Something that I really want to emphasize is this game is totally playable with 1, 2, 3, or 4 players. Even though there are 4 classes and it feels like it should be a 4-player only game, it completely works as any number of players. They've done a really good job of making it very fun and totally possible and not like an obscene challenge on either spectrum. You can also heavily modify the challenge to make it much easier or much harder, but the default difficulty is pretty easy. But I appreciate how accessible they make this game. This game is all about just climbing around like Minecraft, like terraforming the walls to mine minerals and then shooting these bugs that spawn all the time. But what I appreciated from the specific session this weekend was we played one mission. They tend to be the longer missions that we play. You have this oil refinery and you have to connect this refinery to 3 pipes, like 3 little oil wells that are in this big map. And this time that we played, it's all procedurally generated, so you don't know what the map's quite going to look like. Sometimes it'll look similar to other areas, but whatever, it's very random. Well, this time we were in a huge cavern, one big room. I've never gone on a mission where we're in one big room. Usually there are tunnels and there are separate areas that open up into other big caves, but this was one cavern that was so big that our flare, like our regular flares that you throw, we couldn't even see the ceiling, man. I mean, the place was huge. But we had to connect these 3 pipelines, right? And Odysseus and I go on our mission, and we connect these 2. Mostly he did all the work while I used my zip lines to basically be Spider-Man, and just have zip line, a million of them. I mean, probably 20 of them by the end of the game.
Hashtag
My gosh.
productive.
Yeah, all across this map because, well, I won't get into it, but you really have to be creative how you get stuff that's like on the ceiling, like minerals that are on the ceiling and all that. Teamwork helps a whole lot, but it was only Odysseus and I up there, despite there being 4 people playing, because Deadpool and Hot Rod. Deadpool's playing the miner that all the characters have a pickaxe, so you can destroy the earth, to get it out of your way or to climb around or whatever. But the miner, instead of making this tiny little hole with your pickaxe, the miner makes a huge hole in front of him very, very, very quickly. And so Deadpool decided, you know what? Instead of building this pipeline on the existing terrain, I'm just going to dig straight into the rock, just outside of the level of the map. I'm just going to make my own tunnel. And he and Hot Rod went on a mission, dug that whole tunnel, built the whole pipeline through it. And after like 20 minutes, I was like, wait a minute, where are the other 2? I haven't seen them in at least 20 minutes. And they're just down there doing their own thing. And so it just cracked me up that you can tell, like, Deadpool really likes to use the miner like that to just dig ridiculously deep wherever he feels like. But like Shanny Pack, for example, really likes to use it to make the walls look like an anthill. You know how you see from the side where you're like carving into the rock, but it's almost like a tunnel where one face is just open. And there are other examples too, but we each play. There are only 4 characters, but you can really tell that everybody has a different play style when each person plays each of these classes. And I really appreciate that, because the more you play together, same with Back 4 Blood, the more you play together, the better you synergize, because it's not just about knowing your character and how the other characters work, but how your friends actually play. And as far as I know, Deep Rock doesn't have matchmaking. Back 4 Blood does, but Deep Rock has no matchmaking, so this is all about playing with your pals. So absolutely having a blast with that. The funniest thing after that session with the huge cavern was I saw this weird weapon being fired, and I was like, is that a robot? Is that one of us? And it was just silence. And Hot Rod goes, Deadpool, I think you're muted. And then we hear a fumble. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Oh man, I've been muted the whole past 30 minutes. I just thought you weren't talking. It's like, Discord strikes again. So after all that, what that meant was that Hot Rod was just blindly following Deadpool. Deadpool was yelling like, hey, anybody want to come dig this tunnel with me? Hey, can anybody go deposit this thing for me? And Hot Rod just recognized what needed to be done and did it. So that whole time, yeah, #bros. That whole time, none of us, Deadpool included, didn't even realize he was muted because we were working together so well. So that was a fun moment. But that's a blast. Same thing. That's on Game Pass. That is on crossplay with Xbox, but not with Steam. Boo.
Boo.
Really hope they change that sometime soon, because it goes on sale on Steam all the time. But that's the Rock Galactic. And you guys have heard me talk enough about that, but I'm just loving it. Honestly, that game, the terraforming and the shooting, and the fact that it's a co-op game, is some of the most fun gaming I've had all year. Just like it does, it's so accessible. And even failure doesn't feel that bad. But if you want a challenge, you got it. Or if you just want to cruise, it's easy. So, highly recommend Deep Rock Galactic. All right, Vilos, let's get to your game to wrap up what we've been playing. Let's hear about the newest Resident Evil 3.
Wait a second. For those of you that didn't know, Resident Evil 3, actually, it was 3 remake, 2 remake, and 7 and 8 all got next-gen, quote-unquote, upgrades just a couple months ago. And so since I picked up my Series S the other day, I had bought Resident Evil 3 when I had my Xbox One X last year. and I didn't really get to put any time into it. So over the weekend, I put in just about 2 hours, which is a good portion of the game, unfortunately. But the next gen upgrade included ray tracing, 3D audio, like made this shit spiffy, and holy shit, this game looks phenomenal. The RE engine is so cool. And since my TV has uh, like a really good auto HDR, the Xbox automatically knew that it was there. It turned on HDR, and for better or worse, I still need to screw with my settings a little bit, but nonetheless, the game decided to just be the darkest thing possible, and it did make it so appropriately moody that I really can't wait to get back into it to finish it. Very short game, but
I mean, shoot,
absolutely replayable.
the trailer even looks very dark. Very dark.
It's stupid dark, but it is so effective at the scares in this one. I actually jumped in a couple games this weekend. Actually scared me. Back for Blood got me with a jump scare out of nowhere when I was playing by myself, and Resident Evil 3. I swear to you, I pegged this zombie like 5 times in the head, shot her knees out. Like, I had her done. I always pop them in the head when they're down, but this time there were more enemies around, so I was like, I'll take care of her in a second if she's not. But she was up off the ground in like a half second and just destroyed me. It's very good at what it does. This whole game is really good action horror. Just highly recommend. Of course, I would have said that last year for the little bit of I played of it, but with the upgrades, the HDR, just on a 4K TV, just looks so nice, and it runs perfectly on the Series S.
Heck yeah.
If anybody had any reservations about the little Xbox that could, it is fantastic.
Heck yeah. All right, well, I think that's about it then, huh? We've talked about a ton of games tonight. 8 games between us that we've played. About as many from Gamescom, plus a couple other things. That's a lot, y'all. We've covered record almost more games tonight than we have in almost any podcast. So hopefully everybody out there in the audience and chat hopefully found at least one or two things that really caught your eye, whether it's just something to keep an eye on or something that you'll actually pick up. As a reminder to everybody, you can find people to play with in our communities, especially in our Discord. Our Discord is discord.gg/partyinvite.show, and you can find all of our socials on our website at partyinvite.games.
Bye, daddy.